keep talking about the process of postmortems, but there does have to be candid, open conversation to reevaluate maybe the mission that we started off with isn't the right mission. Maybe that's got to be adjusted and there's got to be courage, So, how do you, I guess I'm going to ask the team, what tips do you have for creating that environment where it's a safe place to have those courageous conversations and really say, maybe we made a mistake and we need to go in a different direction?
I think as a leader, you have to be open to the conversation and you have to ask the hard questions and maybe sometimes share the information, and share where maybe your mistake was or how you could have done something differently because we're all human. And I think that opens it up for the conversation to be more candid if you can be candid with your team.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you on both of those counts. Part of that is asking good questions that don't feel like you're judging somebody when you're asking the questions. Like, hey, let's just talk about how things are going, right? This is not about finding fault with anybody. This is about taking a good hard look at the project. And I agree with you, Anna. As a leader, you're adding in your own vulnerability on this. It's like I've made a mistake here, or I could have done this better, that sort of thing. I think it makes it easier for people to do a self-evaluation and say, yeah, I think we could have done some things differently.
I was going to say this makes me think back to a safety training course that Anna and I put together. I don't know, it's probably 2 years ago, but it feels like a billion years ago. And one of the concepts we talked about in that training was psychological safety. So it's not like there's this creating an environment where people feel like they are able to share their ideas or bring up a concern or a question without being like chastised or punished for having something like go against the grain a little bit. And so I think that by leaders being humble or by having these regular meetings, so that way if someone has a question or concern, they don't have to cause a big fuss. They already have these times in place where they can bring it up, can be helpful in making it a psychologically safe space.
I think also, again, we said about leaders opening, and I think you can, if you've got an elephant in the room that everybody's worried about, as a leader, you can walk them through how you deal with it. As literally, I can remember one where it's like, okay, we set the building on fire, so there was that. But then you can go, but the evacuation went really well. We actually got good press from the emergency responders on how well we evacuated the building. We minimized disruption to the customer, and you can really walk them through that while diffusing that bomb that could take down that whole call and get everybody in a very defensive mood with just a little bit of an ironic sense of humor and just deal with it up front.